Part 81. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 803. 83 Yi family number. I did not expect this Hu family to be truly loyal. Although this family is not a shadow clan, but a young daughter Hu Yunting was born very cute. She was 15 or 16 years old and was in the late stage of gas refining. On the road, Yekong was unambiguous, and he gave a blood dan zong jiten directly. The blood dan demon has been destroyed. This kind of building base is very precious. Even the black demon is not sold, let alone outside. When they received Zujiden, the Hu family regarded them as their ancestors. But Huang Shishi didn't need to do that. She was here to transform people, not to be an old lady. Hu Yazhong was told not to tell her identity, but to say that she was a relative who came to learn sewing skills from abroad. No, everything follows the rules of mortals. Hu Yazhong's family promised to go. Yekong looked in the tailor's shop, and met an acquaintance. In fact, it is not an acquaintance, but a statue of an acquaintance. This is not. Yekong was surprised to point to the porcelain statue of a beautiful woman in the palace. Hu Yunting said, "Senior, that's a porcelain statue of the maiden of the Shadow tribe. Legend has it that the lady of the Shadow tribe was the master of the previous generation of the Shadow tribe, but for the Shadow tribe, she gave up her body in exchange for hundreds of thousands of years of stability in the Pipa territory. So many people in Beipijing provided her statues or drawings, and I heard that it can bring good luck." Oh, yeah. Yekong looked at Lu Junro's porcelain again, with emotion in his heart, wondering how she was now. Also, why did she seduce herself that day? This is a mystery to Yekong. He doesn't know when he will see Lu Junro again. He always remembered that Lu Junro thought that stockings were very beautiful. Well, I don't know when I can bring her a pair of stockings. Yekong could not help but sigh softly. If Yekong knew Lu Junro, she would not believe Huang Shishi. She said, "What is stockings?" Yekong hadn't said it yet, but Hu Yunting spoke first, saying, "It's a kind of socks worn by her daughter's house. It's shiny and transparent, but it's very expensive. Body shape makes." Hu Yunting suddenly thought of Yekong as a man. She blushed and whispered in Huang Shishi's ear, "It makes men unbearable." In the end, it is in the relatively open main city of the Shadow clan. Girls aged 15 or 6 know a lot. But Yekong didn't notice the little girl with the red face. Now he is only annoyed. "Hello, you humaning. You are too despicable. You are plagiarism. The plagiarism of red fruit." Seeing someone suddenly gritting her teeth, the girl Yunting, who was startled, Huang Shishi ignored it, and said, "What's wrong with you? Don't scare the little girl." Yekong calmed down and said, "It's okay. In fact, Shishi, I'm going to let you sell a women's show in this shop. It happens that Hu's family is a tailor's family, so it's more convenient." The little girl Yunting, who was surprised, "Senior, would you make a new women's inner show pornographic clothes?" "Of course. What about silk socks?" "Also." The little girl Yunting, who is overjoyed. She doesn't understand the business opportunities. She only knows that it looks good and can't afford it. If she makes it at home, she will have to wear it. But Huang Shishi gave him only 3 words, "Don't learn well." The little girl Yunting, who still didn't believe it, and asked again, "I have seen silk socks and my mother can spin it, but we just don't understand what the material is." "Senior, yeah, do you understand?" "Of course I understand his ancestors. I don't understand, no one in this world understands." Yekong smiled and said, "Before telling you, you have to tell me where the Yujia firm is headquartered. The headquarters of the Yi family is more famous." Of course, Hu Yunting knew that Yekong couldn't wait to go when she said the location. Huang Shishi didn't think about it. He thought, "This kid is so hooligan, but he hasn't been so happy with himself for a long time. Since he came to Shadow Snow City, there are so many girls, let him secretly happily. In fact, where Ye Kong wanted to steal the joy, he couldn't wait to find Yi Menying for intellectual property rights. The headquarters of the Yi family is located in the Autumn City south of Xianxia City. I heard that the scale is quite considerable. A small part of the ground of the Autumn City belongs to the Yi family firm. When I came to Kyokan, Ye Kong saw it from afar. There was a large open space, a large square, and a big flag on it. Behind the square is a magnificent palace-like building, with the main entrance closed in the middle, and many small doors open next to it. Ye Kong knew his identity and wanted to see the owner of Yi's family directly. It was impossible for him to ask about the frost in the snow and the snow ice condensing. It just so happened that they were there, in the backyard. This Ujia firm has been around for too long, so the old people in the firm live in the backyard of the firm, and the Xue family siblings are one of them. Soon, the frost and snow ice condensed out. Xue Shuang was a little surprised. I didn't expect him to be able to lift the blood oath, so Xue Bingning happily called brother Ye Kong. Those gatekeepers of the Shadow clan started to be curious. Who is this Ye Kong? Brothers and sisters of the Snow family were so polite. When they knew, this was Ye Kong, who challenged the 13-year-old infant and saved everyone in the Shadow clan. Ye Kong saved several caravans that day, all of which are large-scale commercial firms in Shadow Snow City. Therefore, Ye Kong's feet has spread, and all major caravans know that there is such a caravan. The gatekeeper said, "Brother Ye has so much love for the sky and is so friendly to our Shadow clan people. I believe our young master will be very happy to see you. Please wait for me to wait for the obituary." Ye Kong was overjoyed. Originally, he wanted to let Xue Shuang's elders come forward to introduce him, but he didn't think he had to go around the corner to see Yi Menying. How could I not be excited when I met in my hometown? Of course, it's hard to say if Yi Ying is regarded as an old friend. However, the thought of seeing Yi Menying, Ye Kong Betty was so excited. Thinking about Kangnan, I was afraid that I would encounter this shrewd, cunning, and shameless female adulterer, but so excited, it's really good fortune. I don't know if the woman saw herself, would she think she saw a ghost? What should she look like? Ye Kong thought so. But when the young master Yi appeared, Ye Kong had a feeling of crying. His ancestors were stubborn. Is Master Yi a boy? This is my young master Yi Shuyan, this is the Ye Kong hero of the Yishao Shadow clan caravan. The big guy with the knife introduced it and stood aside. I don't think brother Ye is so young. Yi Shuyan is also very young, in his 20s, but the monk's age cannot be seen outside. Come, please come in. Yi Shuyan led Ye Kong in, followed by the Xue family siblings. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 804. 84 Change Master. This Yi family is rich and powerful, with a large scale, palace-like buildings, layer upon layer, eaves and bucket arches, depicting dragons and phoenixes. The style is truly extraordinary. Yi Shuyan walked with Ye Konghan while walking, but found that someone was not interested, and the answer was basically well, ah, oh. Finally, I walked into a large hall. Everyone sat down, and Yi Shuyan left. Looking at brother Ye's heart, there is nothing difficult, as long as my Yi family can help, although frankly. Ye Kong smiled bitterly, I have always heard that Master Yi is a woman. Yi Shuyan laughed loudly, lady, gentleman is so good, I do nt think Ye is also a temperament person, but my sister, haha, most men are afraid of her. I advise Ye not to have high expectations. As smart and cunning as Yi Menying, men are really scared. It seems that most men like and brainless. Ye Kong laughed, don't hide brother Yi, in fact, she is afraid of her, but there is something to talk to her about. Yi Shuyan froze. Ye Kong seemed to know her sister in a tone. But my sister came back rarely, and rarely left Peeper Realm. How did they know each other? Yi Shuiyan just asked to ask, and walked into a man with a knife outside. Young master, the master heard that Xianxia had arrived, and wanted to see him. Yi Shuiyan laughed, I still didn't think it would shock my mother, brother. Yeah, please, my mother hasn't seen outsiders these years. Unexpectedly, the actual owner of the Yi family business turned out to be a woman. Ecchi nodded, followed Yi Shuiyan and walked behind. But along the way, Ecchi thought about it, how can he let Yi Menying come out to meet each other? Also, if Yi Menying is in Kangnan at the moment, should I ask Yi Shuiyan about going to Kangnan? Coming to the backyard and back garden, it is full of blooming flowers, colorful butterflies, flying butterflies, and bees buzzing. In the center of the garden, there is a white jade pavilion. The white pavilion is surrounded by a transparent tent. The tent has an opening on one side, and 2 rows of shadow maids are standing below. Although the shadow women are all moving, they are also 3 or 6 or 9. At first glance, these maids are a higher grade than the shadow women on the street. The small appearance is dazzling. However, this is not the point. When you see Master Yi and contemporary master, you can understand what is more beautiful, not the most beautiful. The beautiful woman standing in the pavilion is called beauty. If those women are the beauty of youth, this beauty is the beauty of maturity, the mature charm that can most excite young men. Of course, Ecchi is not a young man, and he has seen Lu Junro who is more beautiful than her, so Ecchi will definitely not lose his temper, but he still looks at him twice. Well, it looks a bit like Yi Menying, but her eyes are also purple pupils. Why is Yi Menying a black pupil? The beautiful woman's face flashed with dissatisfaction, and her heart said that this person also seemed to be a vulgar person. She was so morbid when she saw a beautiful woman. She even stared at the elders so that you couldn't restrain this. But then, the beautiful woman felt different, because Ecchi looked at her with a look of doubt, not like the greedy eyes of other men. Mother, this is the Ecchi brothers who helped save the major firms. Yi Shuiyan didn't notice these, he said. The younger Ecchi met the owner of the Yi family. Ecchi also hurriedly saluted. No courtesy, Yi Zia first thanked the little hero to save me, a disciple of the Yi family caravan. The beautiful woman laughed. This woman also has a surname. Yi Menying Yi Shuihan both talked to the old maiden name. It seems to be the product of marrying. The child followed her maiden's family, alas. I didn't expect this elder sister was very romantic when she was young. I don't know if she is still participating in marrying or not. Someone is shameless, respectful, and busy, dare not. Yi Zia laughed. Ye Xiao is a young man, and I don't know what happened to Xianxia city. If my Yi family can help, we will have nothing to say. I am going back to Kangnan. Can you tell me the channel? Ecchi shook his head and sat down, smiling. In fact, I didn't come to the Yi family to ask for help. I came to give the Yi family a gift. Ecchi said that everyone was frustrated. At first I thought Ecchi was looking for Yi family's help. Who knows that people came to give gifts, but what kind of gifts did he come with? Ecchi said. As soon as he raised his hand, a figure rolled out. This man was the blood slayer Zhou Xinghua who was captured by him. Originally Ecchi used the realm of Falstan to capture Yu Enying Zhenjun alive. People like Yi Zia and Yi Shuiyan were a little unbelievable. It would be possible if Falstan defeated Ji Dan. If Falstan defeated Yu Enying, it would be hard to believe. However, watching Ecchi release Zhou Xinghua, everyone believed. At the same time, they were surprised that Ecchi had subsidiary space. Ecchi's subsidiary space has been exposed in front of everyone, so there is no need to hide it, as long as people don't know that it is Pipazug. This person is the main agent of Lin Zijing's killing of the Shadow Clan caravan. I think Gihao must be very interested in him. Ecchi smiled and said. He also thought about how to exchange Zhou Xinghua for Kangnan, but think about it, the method to go to Kangnan must be Yi's top secret. This will never succeed, but it will cause Yi to suspect him, so he just gave it away. Anyway, Zhou Xinghua is of no use to him anyway. Sure enough, Yi Ziyu had a good opinion of Yekanda and signaled that the guards would take Zhou Xinghua away. Watching Zhou Xinghua detained, she nodded. We long suspected that the matter was not so simple on the surface, but it was bitter without evidence. Now that this person is in hand, we can clearly know their purpose. There is really a little hero of Lao yet. Yi Ziyu finished and said, Ye Xiao, you sent us this great gift. We don't know how to thank you. If you have any needs, please speak up. Ye Kong looked at Yi Shuiyan and laughed, I want to see someone. Yi Shuiyan immediately understood that he would not be bitter, and said to Yi Ziyu, Mother, brother Ye wants to see her sister. He knows her sister, and today she wants to tell her old story, but man ying her. Yi Ziyu understood something. No wonder he was staring at himself just now. Maybe he was looking at himself and his daughter, but what was the question in his eyes? Man Ying has gone to restock outside the country. She can't come back temporarily. Yi Ziyu frowned. Ye Kong knew that by accident, it was estimated that Yuman Ying was still in Kangnan. He asked again, dare to ask when she will return. It might take a year and a half. When I heard this sentence, Ye Kong was extremely depressed, and Yi Menying didn't return. He wanted to go back to Kangnan. To whom? How could Yi family expose the most important secrets to himself as an outsider? In other words, people will not agree to it. Then, a few words of shame. At this moment, an old voice suddenly sounded in the sky. Have you come here? I want to meet this kid and the gifts he brought. The old voice seemed to come from a very distant place, but it seemed to be in my ear, very mysterious and weird. Yi Shuiyan was shocked. Mother, this is the voice of the old man. Yi Ziyu was also shocked, and then wondered, 100 years after the father closed the retreat, the Shadow Clan has a new owner. He didn't go out. What is it today? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 805. 85 Pawn Demon Sect. Shadow Snow City, whose tailor shop? Sister, will it take many years to practice to Yuan's great consummation? Hu Yunting asked with interest. As a monk in the period of gas cultivation, he was full of fantasy for the future. Huang Shishi laughed, of course it is. I thought back then that I was also a little girl who only practiced qi. When I saw those true kings, I was very excited. Hu Yunting laughed, yes, sister, then you must be very strong. Huang Shishi did not want to talk more about spiritual practice. She is here to transform mortals, and talk about cultivation all day long. What kind of mortals do you pretend to be? She was just about to say something. Outside the tailor's shop, an old man in a ragged suit came to him. The old man stood outside the shop and smiled at Huang Shishi, Dao. When Hu Yunting looked at the person, he quickly passed a piece of spiritual stone and said, we are also a small business. If you want dinner, go to the big names on the front door. The old man was also not annoyed and laughed, this little older sister, I didn't ask for food. I just came from the wind and sand, where all the flying spirits were Lingxia, and I accidentally broke my clothes. Hu Yunting blushed, a little embarrassed, and quickly apologized, I'm sorry, I thought you were asking for food. Then, are you out of clothes and want to come to us to make a suit? The old man still shook his head and said, I'm not here to make clothes. Hu Yunting hesitated and asked, what are you doing here? The old man looked at Huang Shishi and laughed, I'm here to find this girl. This time I changed Huang Shishi. Look for me? I don't know you. What do you do? I'm not telling you, I'm in such a hurry, I'm here to find you. Please take a step to talk. Huang Shishi stepped out of the tailor's shop, and the old man raised his hand and laid down a completely isolated prohibition. After the ban, Huang Shishi and the old man disappeared into the street from nothing. Huang Shishi froze, and then looked again. This is what is prohibited, this is the space to transform the gods. She hurriedly saluted. It turned out to be a senior. I was a little offended just now. I wonder what happened to seniors looking for juniors. The old man laughed. Of course there is something. As soon as I say my identity, you will know. Oh? Then you say. My husband is Chen's Haihao, the demon. Pawn demon sect. Huang Shishi froze for a moment, suddenly remembered. This demon is one of Yunyeo's mysterious demon, known as life. Each time they appear, they will appear next to those who may be in danger of death. Great gains. Of course, what they need is not a spirit stone or treasure, what they need is your life. Are I in danger of life? Huang Shishi was startled and asked quickly. Chen's Haihao laughed. It seems that you have heard of this case, so I can talk less. Indeed, you are in danger, and in danger, the man you care about will die. I am definitely not scaring you, you should believe in the credibility of this section without me to help you, he will die. Huang Shishi panicked in her heart. The man she cared about the most was Yekong. Is Yekong in great danger? However, it's common for Yekong to be in danger, and his character is determined. Are you really trying to escape this time? Chen's Haihao nodded and smiled. Yes, he is in danger of escape. His opponent is very powerful, so powerful that he can easily kill him. He has no chance to escape, no. Then what can you do for me? Huang Shishi asked again. Although Chen's Haihao smiled slightly, I can help him survive and let him kill that extremely powerful opponent. So, what am I going to give? Life. Yes, but it's not the whole of your life, but 100 years. You pawned your life for 100 years. In this 100 years, you are no longer you are us. The pawn's cargo fulfills our mission. Of course, in the mission, you are likely to die, and it will become a death pawn. If you can persist for 100 years, then the period ends, and you return to freedom. This also perfect ending. For 100 years, I told a monk that it is not long or short, not to mention Chen's Haihao also explained that he is likely to die. Looking at Huang Shishi's hairpin, Chen's Haihao said, you don't have to doubt what I say, because only you use the service of our Mozong, in other words, only when you get the benefits we give you, this will be executed. So you don't have to worry about me deceiving you, the only thing you have to consider now is whether you want to trade his life for 100 years or the price of your death and defeat your opponent. I do, Huang Shishi answered without thinking. Watch him die. I cannot do it. I don't know when, the figure of that guy has been engraved in her heart so profound, if it can change his life, himself, even if it is 100 dead, what? Chen's Haihao smiled, then the deal is over. This has always been fair. No one will refuse. Then he pulled out something. Said, this will help him through the difficult times. A few miles away from the Yi family firm, the elders retreat. The name of the elder is Yi Jian, not the elder of the Yi family, but the elder of the Shadow clan. The reason why the Yi family firm can stand in Xianxia city and become the largest firm of the Shadow clan is the old one. The elders of the entire Shadow clan, even the head of the Shadow clan, have to give some face. Yekong followed Yi Ziyu and Yi Shuiyan, and there were people behind Zhou Xinghua who came to the retreat. This is a tomb-like building, but with doors and windows, it looks very weird. Walking outside the ban, everyone dared not enter again. This Yi Jian is the distant grandfather of Yi Ziyu's mother, so Yi Ziyu is called the grandfather's ancestor. Yi ancestor, Ye Ziyu is here, Yi Ziyu said softly. The old voice sounded again, let him in with that gift. At this time, Yi Shuiyan knelt down and bowed his head and said, I have met the ancestor of the grandpa, and the younger generation Yi Shuiyan would like to greet you. Since the younger generation was born, I have not seen. Before Yi Shuiyan talked, he was interrupted by the old voice, Yi Shuiyan, your filial piety is good, I know, see you when I have time. The guards and maids standing around couldn't help thinking, was this Yekong so much valued? Yi Jian didn't even have time to see juniors he had never met, but wanted to see him. What is so shocking about this kid? Yekong was also surprised. This Yi Jian, as the elder of the clan, was a real big man. It can be said that he was one of the characters who determined the fate of the clan. Why did he want to see himself? The Mad Cultivator. Author, Jian Yi. Chapter 806. 806 You, no. Yekong's imprisoned Zhou Xinghua walked into the tomb-like building. Yi Jian had opened all the restrictions, so he went unimpeded and walked directly to Yi Jian. Yi Jian, sitting cross-legged, is an old man with thin hair, but he looks young and looks like an old fairy. Meet Senior Yi Yekong Xing saluted. Yi Jian nodded his head, without much words, and then beckoned. Zhou Xinghua was sucked in by him. His hand was placed above Zhou Xinghua's head, and he was obviously doing the soul-searching. Yi Jian's soul-searching Dafa was much faster than Zhu Lingfei. He quickly withdrew his hand, and then took a shot at Zhou Xinghua's head. Zhou Xinghua immediately became a dead person. These old demons who have lived for thousands of years really saw their lives as grass mustard and raised their hands to kill Zhou Xinghua. But Yekong was somewhat surprised. Yi Jian saw his unexpected expression and looked up and asked, do you think I killed him too sloppily, and he still has use value? You can also let the elders of all shadow clans search for it, let everyone know that hostility to the shadows. Yekong didn't expect the old man to understand his thoughts in a blink of an eye. He lowered his head and said, exactly, this matter can at least remind everyone not to take lightly the holy demon. Before Yekong finished speaking, Yi Jian said, wait for the shadow clan and the holy demon sect, you can take the chestnut out of the fire and take advantage of the opportunity. Yekong was shocked in his heart, and he was indeed a bit immature. But the most important thing is that take advantage of the opportunity, did he really find out? I just wanted to remind the shadow clan, and I didn't have any thoughts, and I took advantage of the opportunity, and I didn't quite understand the next one. Yekong lowered his head. Yi Jian looked at him, looked up at the roof again, and said lightly, know why the old man wants to see you? It is because the old man feels a familiar atmosphere. Yekong was really surprised. He didn't expect to be aware of his secret when he first arrived at Pipa. Old Senior. Yekong wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Yi Jian. You don't need to say it, I know it. Yi Jian waved his hand, then shook his head. I'm disappointed to see you. You, no. Yekong is like being poured into a pot of cold water. When Yi Jian knew that he had a Pipa bead, he even thought in his heart whether he could fight for these Shadow Clan elders and help him become a Shadow Clan elder. Yi Jian said a word but completely denied him. Why not? Yekong looked up angrily. You are not my people. Yi Jian closed his eyes and said, of course this is not all, for many reasons, in other words, you are too far from meeting our requirements, you go, never mention this matter, you to have a chance to survive. To be honest, if it wasn't for Lu Junro's advice, Yekong wouldn't be too rare as the master of the Shadow Clan. Jian's words angered him. Is I so bad? Lao Tzu was found by Pipa Zhu himself, and has also passed on the inheritance of Lu Junro. May I ask who has such an opportunity in this world? Why do you deny it in one sentence? Do you have this power? Yekong didn't leave, coldly, it really doesn't work, just a fake one. Yi Jian opened his old eyes, looked at Yekong, and closed it again, faintly saying, when it's true, and false. Yekong said again, since it is true now, why still let the fake happy? Because he can better represent the interests of my people. What we need is peace, the leader who leads everyone to peace, and we do not need war. Yi Jian's words made it clear that Yu Yekong and Saint Mozong do not deal with it. If you are the master, there will be no peace. And the fake one can make people realm have peace. That is the most important reason. Yekong smiled in disappointment. Do you think I am against Saint Mozong? Is it for myself? I am for Quanyun Yiren, for the Quanying tribe, and for Lu Junro to get freedom early. Peace gained by a woman's humiliation, peace obtained under the bayonet of others, peace fooled by a liar, can these be regarded as peace? Yekong finished, raised his head and walked out without stopping. Yi Jian opened his eyes again, then closed and shook his head. Young man, still too young. At the same time, Huang Shishi is also bargaining with Chen's Haihao. Just this thing? Just this thing can save his name. Huang Shishi held a flat jade in his hand. Chen's Haihao nodded, yes, not only can he be rescued, but he can also destroy the enemy. This is just a piece of fairy jade. It is useless for our monks. Huang Shishi couldn't believe that a piece of fairy jade was just like a cow fork. Chen's Haihao still faintly smiled, I don't know how this jade can help him kill the enemy, but my pawn's magical algorithm is definitely not wrong. But even if it is useful, you want to exchange my life for 100 years with a piece of jade. Is your Mozong too dark? Huang Shishi has always been a savvy person. Today, because he was worried about Yekong's life, Chen's Haihao agreed to, but now she doesn't think it's worth it. Chen's Haihao seemed to know that she was going to do this, and smiled, you have promised that you have no right to regret, otherwise someone in my case will take your life. Huang Shishi laughed, I don't think you want 2 corpses, right? Then, I will give you 20 years of life, how about it? Chen's Haihao finally got a bit annoyed, and the woman bargained too hard. No, 90 years. 30 years. 8 years. The two actually bargained with the general bargains on the stall, talking for a long time, and finally set a 50-year period, starting from Yekong's use of Xianxia to calculate the time. In the end, Chen's Haihao took out a vote for the essence and blood contract, allowing Huang Shishi to sign on with the blood, and it took effect from Yekong's use of Xianxia. The limitation period was 50 years. Huang Shishi must not speculate or violate the rules on the ticket, otherwise she will die immediately. Chen's Haihao finally said, this demon dynasty is alive and dead. You must not tell the third person about the content of the pawn. Otherwise, it will immediately turn into hazy blood. I hope you will not let me down. He left after speaking, and Huang Shishi appeared again on the wide street. On the jade-paved street, there were few pedestrians, and flying cherry blossoms like snow drifted in the air. Huang Shishi picked her long hair and sighed. Do you sell yourself this way? I hope this fairy jade can really help him. That night, Yekong returned to the tailor shop, and his mood was not very good. Kangnan couldn't go back. The owner of the Shadow Clan was also denied. What should he do? He flashed and went to the Black Demon sect, where he finally heard the good news. The elder appeared and agreed to practice in the mustard space. This message was conveyed by Yun Qian, and then a token was spit out from the wall on the right. It is a transmission token that can be used once. Yun Qian said that once the token is used, it can be transmitted to the mustard space tower instantly. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 807. 807 Strange Dreams. This is good news. 10 times the time, when you come out, you are already a monk who has become Dan. Anyway, you are waiting for Yuman Ying, you might as well put Dan first. He decided to say hello to Huang Shishi, and then entered the mustard space tower to practice, but waited for him to come out, but the sight in front of him caused his nosebleed to spit. Huang Shishi was lying on her couch waiting. She didn't want to delay, she didn't know when it was coming, and she would leave for 50 years by then. She didn't want to be lonely for 50 years. She wanted to give him this night. No reservations. The beauty is fragrant, the fragrance is floating, the account is half covered, and the beautiful eyes are full of water. Huang Shishi wore only one belly band. The red belly band was very thin and very tight. It outlined the figure of Huang Shishi's devil. A gouache trousers underneath covered only one leg, and two moving long legs were eye-catching. Sister Shishi, you are. Yekong swallowed and spit and walked over, not knowing what was going on. Although she has always been intimate with Huang Shishi recently, she has always been innocent. What happened to her today? Oh, I'm here to slap my little Sangong. Huang Shishi was so charming if she didn't hook people. Now she is even more charming. Every action and every look is as crisp as bones. Xiao Xianggong is a curse. Yekong wanted to make a joke to avoid embarrassment. But when Huang Shishi's jade body was lifted, one of his white arms was resting on Yekong's shoulders, and those gentle and hot eyes stared at Yekong. Huang Shishi did not speak, so he looked at an empty, slender hand stroking Yekong's cheek. At this moment, silence was better than sound. Yekong would be stupid if he did not understand Huang Shishi's meaning again. He and Huang Shishi looked at each other, and at the same time grasped Huang Shishi's deft hand. Huang Shishi's small hand was pressed on his face. However, the little hand was still very bad, the pointed onion finger was still moving, the index finger quietly penetrated into Yekong's mouth, let him suck, and slowly entered and exited. The two have been staring at each other, their eyes are getting more and more obsessed, the temperature between them is rising rapidly, and their breathing is beginning to become rough. She is waiting, she is expecting, she is ready. At last Yekong roared and pressed down, and Huang Shishi's nose rustled and was overwhelmed weakly. A room was pink, and everyone's blood was burning. There are poems like Yunfeng and Mingming, The Flesh and the Waves of Honey, Spirits, Wushan Xiang Wang Tianwei, and the Sea Dry Stone Land decided. Yekong restrained for a long time, and Huang Shishi also looked forward to it for a long time. The two fought each other and did not know how many times the flowers bloomed. Although Huang Shishi was crying for the first time, after all, she was a monk. The wound was soon healed, and the volcano that had been brewing for hundreds of years also erupted. Her fighting power was no less than Yekong. You come and go and enjoy it. The house has already been set up. Outsiders can't hear anything at all. They don't have to eat. They don't go out at all. They are like crazy. They do it regardless of day and night. When they are tired, they sleep for a while and wake up to continue fighting. Yekong hasn't slept for a long time, and he tasted the taste of sleeping again this time. On the third day, Yekong and Huang Shishi hugged each other after they reached the peak. Yekong, give your soul to me, you will get everything you want, cultivation, power, strength, wealth, woman, even if you become the master of this world, it is not impossible. In the dream, a voice calling, "Lo, weird." Yekong was startled, and he saw a bronze human face floating in front of himself, and the voice of that person was exactly the same. Who are you? Yekong asked. My name is Miles Reincarnation. So strange a name. Yes, I can see thousands of miles away, I can see your past and present life, people who believe in me, give me the soul, I let him have everything. I find you now, it is your luck, because you will be developed. What do you want? Tell me, I can help you achieve it. Do you want to be the master of the Shadow Clan? Just give me your soul. The bronze face said with a seductive voice. Yekong shook his head and said, give the soul to you, then I have lost everything, what wealth and power, what use? The bronze face said, no, you misunderstood it. It is the soul, not your soul. After you give your soul to me, you will become stronger, more greedy, more desire-seeking, child, greed is not a bad thing, there is success is the pursuit. But I still can't promise you, because I'm me, and I will get it with my own hands. What I don't want, I will give to those who deserve it. How can you betray your soul? The bronze face said, stupid, look at this world. Some people sell their souls to money, some people sell their souls to power, and what can't they sell? Let's go, I won't promise you, you demon crooked, I won't believe it, there is such a cow fork, you still come to me? Hurry up, Yekong cursed. What a rude kid, Wan Lisang snorted angrily and said, rest assured, we will meet soon, and hope that by then, you have the right choice by. Wan Li's reincarnation showed a weird smile, then dissipated, and Yekong also woke up from his dream. In the eyes, it is the light that shines through the window. The light shines on Huang Shishi's beautiful body. The ivory skin is smooth and dazzled by the light. However, the most moving part is the intersection of the two legs. The lovely little bulge is like a small white mound. On the mound, a small patch of crickets is neatly laid down, and the sun shines golden color on it. Yekong could not help but caress again. Don't move, let me sleep again. Stupid Huang Shishi pushed Yekong's hand away, turned over, and slept again. Little slacker. Yekong smiled, got up and dressed, and had been absurd for 3 consecutive days. He had nightmares just now. He still had to go out and breathe. Yekong didn't take the bronze face, he thought it was just a nightmare. When we walked out of the house, we saw that the tailor's family was busy. This was the morning when they had finished their breakfast. Tailor Hu is busy opening the door. His wife is washing the dishes and Hu Yunting is helping to organize the dining table. What a warm scene. Seeing such a scene, Yekong had some emotions. He envied this kind of warm life, but he didn't want to indulge in it. Because he is a monk who wants to continuously climb the peak and pursue himself, for him, the constant fighting is his life. Is he a bit aggressive? Yekong suddenly thought. But when he saw Hu Yunting cleaning the jade carving, he shook his head. Maybe he was a bit combative, but in this world, do NT fight, okay. No. This is not the world I want. Good is good, bad is bad. Love is love, hate is hate. This is me. I never rubbed sand in my eyes. My life is not here, but in. Yekong turned his head and looked at the towering Pipa mountain from afar. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 808. 88 Pipa Mountain. Hu Yunting wiped Lu Junro's statue, saw Yekong looking at Mount Pipa, smiled, and said, Senior Ye, do you want to visit Mount Pipa? Or I will show you the scenery in the afternoon. Yekong asked, can Mount Pipa be casual? You can go up to halfway, but not near the Jade Pipa. The palace of the Shadow Clan chief is forbidden to enter. Yekong smiled and shook his head. Then why did I go? If I want to go, I have to go into the palace. Hu Yunting thought he was blowing the air and yelled, Senior Ye, you are kidding again. Outsiders must enter the palace to be invited by the patriarch Kishan. Like their predecessors, they can practice for another 1,000 years. Maybe. Yekong laughed, maybe 1,000 years is not enough. At this moment, suddenly I heard the sound of, a sound, the entire Pipa realm seemed to startle, and the snow-like petals of the sakura willows stopped for a short time. Everyone in the Pipa realm stopped the work in hand. Tailor Hu held the door panel and stared up at the Jade Pipa in Pipa Mountain. Hu Yunting covered her mouth in horror and murmured, oh my god, am I right? The Jade Pipa is ringing. Hu Tailor's wife also said, since the Shadow Clan chief was born more than 10 years ago, this Pipa hasn't sounded yet. Has something happened? A moment of calm, and then the sound of the Pipa sounded like a spring flowing through the mountain, The sound was so beautiful, like a fairy sound, and so powerful, as if demonstrating. It was a demonstration, yes, a demonstration. Yekong stood with his hands down, looking up at the huge jade pipa on the mountain. He felt it, and that voice was demonstrating to him. The sound seemed to be saying, "Isn't there a pipa bead? Ha ha. No. Without pipa beads, I still make it ring. You sound so sweet." At the same time, Yekong also felt clearly that in front of the palace under the jade pipa, there was a sharp look at himself. Yekong knew that he was not good enough. He didn't want to provoke trouble now. But who knows, people already know him, have already challenged him, can he shrink back? Bring it on. Fight if you want. Let me see how amazing you are. Let me see, how did you make the jade pipa? Out loud Yekong snorted, and flew straight, flying straight to Pipa Mountain. Yijiazuo, Yijian woke up from meditation and sighed, "I don't know if you live or die. Since the previous patriarch chose you, let us see what you have." Even though Yijian said this, he still shook his head. In any case, he didn't believe in a fake Danzioxiu, and could he defeat Emperor Qixin? Just kidding. Huang Shishi, who was confused, was also awakened by the sound of pipa. She opened her eyes and found that Yekong was not there. When she put on her clothes and walked outside, she did not see Yekong. Where is Yekong? Heard the sound of the lute, he flew up the mountain alone. Huang Shishi was so frightened that she had been worried, and never thought that danger would come so soon. The danger mentioned by Chen's Haihao before is most likely this time. This stinky boy, didn't tell me anything, it's terrible, Huang Shishi followed in a flash. Pipa Mountain, a sacred mountain in the minds of the Shadow Clan, a huge unmatched jade pipa on the top of the mountain stands up to the sky, and at this moment is making a sound of gurgling, like a river running, like a warhorse galloping, endless. The people who are shocked or angry stand up. Yekong stood under the precipitous mountain peak, and the straight upstairs stair was like a ladder, straight up, as if through to Tianyu. "Who's here, can you invite?" On the mountain road, two Shadow Clan guards drew swords to block Yekong. "Dikishin. You lead me over with the sound of a pipa, don't you dare to meet at this moment." Yekong didn't even look at them, yelling with his head up at the end of the ladder. "Bold. Can you also call the clan's name?" The Shadow Clan guards found that the people were not good, and they all pulled up their swords. "Do you want to stop me?" "Not worth it," Yekong snorted. "I am a decent Shadow Clan leader, but at this moment I was blocked by you, the Shadow Celebrity Guards, to give you a look." Just as Yekong wanted to start, a long laugh came from the end of the mountain beam. "Ha ha, Yekong, you are really arrogant, I don't know if you live or die. Now that you are here, come up." When the Shadow Clan guards heard the order from Dikishin, they all stepped aside. Yekong picked up the steps, looked calm and straight. At this moment, the lute arpeggios and the white flowers of sakura willows flew in the sky, and they saw that the cities below became smaller and smaller, and the palaces above became more and more towering. Finally, Yekong embarked on the steps of the last section. In front of it was a huge and magnificent palace, such as a panlong panning under the jade pipa, and no one else in the huge square in front of the palace. There was only a straight and arrogant figure, with his back to Yekong, standing on the edge of the square opposite the side overlooking Shadow Snow City. With only one back, the momentum is already amazing. At this glance, Yekong knew that the difference between himself and Dikishin was amazing. If Yekong and Dikishin stood in front of all the Shadow Clan people, absolutely no one thought that Yekong was the master of the clan. But Yekong knew, in front of him, this was just an authentic fake. "You're here." Dikishin didn't move, standing as if he was a javelin, until Yekong stood next to him. He said 3 words, very lightly. "I'm here." Yekong also answered only 3 words. I admire your courage to know that you must die and dare to come. Daikishin finally turned his face and stared at Yekong with no expression on the handsome face. I also admire your ability to ring the jade pipa without pipa beads. Yekong paid tribute to him. But Yekong was really surprised at the moment, because it was not the first time he saw Daikishin's face. In the painting left by Li Chenquan, the painting is exactly this face. The only difference is the color of the pupils. What is it to make the jade pipa ring? Daikishin laughed with a scornful smile. He proudly said, I let it ring, it will ring, let it not ring, nothing you put in will be useless. Is that right? Yekong said nothing, but went to touch his storage ring. Daikishin noticed his movement, but did not stop it, but smiled. What? Hit me with a magic weapon? Or take out a pipa bead and collect me? Yekong smiled. Sorry, you're all wrong, I'll just get a message from a senior. After Yekong finished speaking, he shook the turquoise jade in his hand. At this time to see what the seniors said. This is too baffling, even if your predecessor left you a must-have magic, is it too late to learn it? The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 809. Emperor 809. Yekong's inconsistent behavior made Daikishin somewhat inexplicable. He felt a punch on the cotton. He just deliberately established the momentum and majesty for a short while. Well, you can't change the ending by playing any trick. Daikishin snorted coldly, and didn't look at Yekong with his hand. But a word spoken by Yekong suddenly made Daikishin stunned. Yekong had only 2 words, Liangjing. Daikishin's whole body shook, and a picture appeared in front of his eyes, a newly transformed little demon repair, strolling in Shadow Snow City impeccably until he saw a white coat in a tavern woman in the snow. That day, the air was exceptionally fresh and the sky was not as bright. What's your name? My name is, Liangjing. This is the name that Daikishin said casually, because on the way when he came, he saw these 2 words on the book of a scholar. How do you know? Daikishin stared at Yekong, although his face was more excited than before, but his momentum was much weaker. Of course I know, I also know that you are a demon, a jade demon. Yekong schemed his lips. Now I know, why can you let the jade people listen to your orders? Your body is the jade of this jade people, right? The astonishment in Daikishin's heart can no longer be expressed in words. This is his biggest secret. Those who know this secret, except himself, have only 1,000 miles of reincarnation. You're right, I'm a piece of jade on the jade pipa. The jade pipa only plays music for itself. Daikishin waved his sleeves, and the pipa's voice came to a halt, and he finally revealed his concubine. Boy, now that you know, it's better to stay with you. Answer my question honestly now, and I will make you die happier. Daikishin looked at Yekong coldly. Yekong was not afraid at all. He was originally a deadly rogue character. Now that he knows the weakness of Daikishin, he is even more afraid. Then you don't want to know who the older sister who left this jade Cambodia is? Well, she waited for hundreds of years. Yekong sighed. Daikishin was discolored again. He had already guessed who was staying in Yukang, and the beautiful northern woman appeared in his eyes. She is not a mortal, she is a monk. Is she okay now? Daikishin even gave up his momentum completely and asked with a tremor, it seems that he really has feelings for Li Chinayu. Look at it for yourself. Yekong threw Yuchan to Daikishin. Daikishin hurriedly took it, and delved into it with the knowledge of God. This was left by Yechinayu to Yekong and told a story. Hundreds of years ago, a consummate monk who became a great concubine became a mortal and came to Shadow Snow City to experience the life of mortals. This is the most important moment for a monk to become mortal. She even insisted on her mortal status. But at this time, she met a male monster who just changed shape. The period when the monster changed was equivalent to the period when the human monk just changed into a baby. The two met each other in this way. The male demon Jiu didn't say his identity, but the female monk's Xiu Wei can clearly see that even in the words of daily life, he guessed that he was a jade demon. However, the male demon Xiu did not know the practice of the female monk, and always thought she was a mortal woman. This made the monk's heart very contradictory. Should you tell him? However, she has reached the critical moment of becoming a god. If she speaks, it may affect her mood. The female monk has entered the WDO 3 times. After more than 100 years, she does not want to fail. She decided to talk again later, waiting for the realm to stabilize. But at this time, the 5 elements Xianfu opened once every 200 years. The male demon Jiu met a few friends and met to go to Wuxing Xianfu to try their luck together. The female monk thought to himself, wait for the male demon Jiu to return to the 5 elements ferry, and then tell him the truth. But when the male demon repair came back 6 months later, before the female monk started to speak, the male demon repair talked first. He said that he got an opportunity in the 5 elements ferry house, and he would soon rise up, so that the female demon did not wait for him. That's it, let's go our separate ways. There are countless words in the monk's heart, but people want to rise to become immortals. She cannot hinder his future, only to secretly breathe. They must also ascend. See you in the fairy world. After the male demon Jiu said those things, he couldn't wait to leave. But the more the female monk thinks, the more wrong it is. Does he think he is a mortal woman, so he doesn't want to marry him? But when the male demon Jiu went, there was no news. The female monk regretted it very much. She regretted that she hadn't told him the truth earlier. She believed that if she told him, the ending would be different. She would regret it for hundreds of years. Finally, she can fly up. She is going to find a male demon repair in fairyland. However, she was also worried that the male demon repair did not rise, so she left a message, and if she saw the male demon repair, she brought a sentence, "Sorry, I was wrong." When the story comes to this point, the fool can understand that the female monk is Li Chenjun, and the male demon is Di Qishan, once Liang Zheng. Ye Kong originally wanted to take advantage of Di Qishan's instability, release the soil film, and drag him into Pipazu space. But I didn't expect that after finishing reading, Di Qishan cried in horror, and kept mumbling to himself, mourning, "I'm sorry, I'm wrong, it's me." What momentum! The arrogance, domineering, all disappeared, and the dignified patriarch of the clan cried like a child. The powerful emperor's Hishan just returned to his cowardly nature. Is this the Emperor Qishan just now? Ye Kong really doubts that Di Qishan now is not alone. But the most curious thing about Ye Kong is, why did this guy leave Li Chenxian that year? Di Qishan, why did you leave at that time? If you really love Li Chenxian, then it will make you leave. It must be a big temptation. Ye Kong asked the question in his heart. Di Qishan took a breath and said, "That's right. When the 5 elements Xianfu came to the opening day, a few friends asked me to go to the 5 elements Xianfu to find treasure. That was just a little monster who just changed shape. I envy humans and envy the men of the Shadow Clan. I am a little inferior, cowardly, and timid. I didn't want to go, but Chen Xian encouraged me to let me try my luck, not to find treasure, but to find confidence. So we went. We were unlucky and were teleported to a very remote corner of Xianfu. There was no treasure at all. Everyone was very upset. But at this moment, we found a mirror that can reflect the past life. The afterlife is a top treasure. There is only one treasure. Everyone wants it. Good friends have become enemies. They all want to kill other people and win treasures. But strangely, the treasure mirror has manifested and helped me kill everyone else. For the lowest I left with my precious mirror." Ye Kongqi said, "Why do you cultivate to the lowest, but Baojing helped you?" Di Qishan said, "I don't understand, but the treasure mirror made me stand in front of the mirror. This picture excited me and made me finally pursue. Let me understand that I am not a useless little demon repair, I have the capital, I can still live like that. Live on millions of people. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 810. August 10. Schizophrenia. Hearing this, Yekong couldn't help but be more curious. What did this Emperor Qixin see in the mirror? Let him be an inferior cowardly coward and find self-confidence. Then what did you see? I saw that I became the master of the Shadow Clan. Thousands of Shadow Clan worshipped at my feet. I can easily determine their life and death, and determine their fate. This has great appeal to me. I was originally a piece of jade pipa. Jade, so I want to be the master of the Shadow Clan. Yekong sighed. How many people can resist in such a big glory? Qixin said, the mirror said that this woman is mortal and not a Shadow Clan, and it is not suitable for you. I was confused at the time, and did so. Then I practiced the exercises given to me by the mirror and took 300 years. Reaching the realm of gods, it took another 400 years to expand my body, to the point where I could completely control the sound of the jade pipa, and finally spent another 100 years learning the Shadow Clan of the Shadow Clan. Until more than 10 years ago, everything was available, and I finally became the Lord of the Shadow Clan. When Qixin talked about the Lord of the Shadow Clan, his eyes sharpened again. Just now the inferiority of Xianxia, who had a deep love for Li Chenyu, disappeared, and he returned to the status of the Lord of the Shadow Clan. However, at this time, a woman's voice sounded and asked, what I care most is if Chen Hao tells you earlier that she is a monk or a human monk who is about to turn into a god, what will the end be different? The questioner was Huang Shishi, who arrived later. The guards below couldn't stop her at all. She avoided the guards after a teleportation. She was late and listened to them. At this moment, Qixin's confidence has been restored. He looked up and said arrogantly, no. Because she is not a shadow woman. Because she knows a lot about me. The Shadow Clan elders will probably not accept it. In order to stand on top of 10,000 people, I can't leave this flaw. Qixin's words were not finished, but Huang Shishi did a surprising move. Even Yekong was a little surprised. Pop, Huang Shishi went up and gave Qixin a slap in the face. Even the fanatic Yekong was a bit surprised. Regardless, Qixin was still the lord of the Shadow Clan. If the Shadow Clan knew that a woman had hit a big slap on their patriarch, it is estimated that they would use all their power to hunt down Huang Shishi. Huang Shishi seen you and stared and cursed, misunderstanding. Fei Chen's remorse and hate for 800 years. You ungrateful little demon repair. Do you know how Chen Yes 800 years have passed? She spends her days in thoughts and remorse after that. She always believed that if I told you earlier, the ending would be different, and she was really stupid. What surprised Yekong even more was that Huang Shishi slaps and beats, and the newly restored Emperor Qixin even thundered and knelt down. Do you know? Where is she now? She is now in the devil's zone and is being bullied by those 3 devil. You are good, to be a blessing here, regardless of her life and death. Are you a man? Sorry, Chen Yun, I will save you. I will save you. Qixin sobbed on the ground and sobbed. At this time, a sigh sounded in the secret room of the Shadow Family Palace. This cowardly and useless guy has learned my soul eater and spiritual master for so long, but he can't change this humble character. For a woman, he became so mad. It seems that it only inspired another incarnation in him. Outside the square is extremely wide, under the tall jade pipa, snow like sakura willow flutters and dances, the world seems to be white and blank. Yekong stood quietly. He didn't expect that he would be defeated, or even die, when he came today, but the situation turned out to be like this. It was unimaginable. Huang Shishi looked at Qixin, who was kneeling towards the distance and was so anxious, and stood back to Yekong, whispering, I didn't expect him to be so sad, it seems a bit human. Ye Kong sighed, in fact, it's not surprising. Some people have said that asking what is in the world is just like life and death. But then, De Kishin suddenly stood up again and roared, "Don't cry and cry, are you a girl? You are the patriarch of the Shadow Clan, the patriarch who determines the fate of thousands of people of the Shadow Clan. There are as many as you want." Then De Kishin's momentum weakened again, he cursed, "You know how far, do you know what is love? 10 million women are not as good as Chen Yi." The momentum restored, De Kishin yelled, "I knew you were a useless thing, so I let you kick that stupid woman away. I didn't expect to come here for 800 years, you still haven't grown up." The cowardly De Kishin shouted again, "You bastard, you know she is a monk, you always know, right? You are a bastard. I let you fulfill your wishes and stand on top of 10,000 people. How dare you speak to me like this? Do I want to thank you? In the past 800 years, I have not been happy for a day. 800 years is not as good as the day with Chen 11. The scene was too weird. Ye Kong and Huang Shishi were shocked. At the moment, De Kishin seemed to have two people in his body, talking once and talking to himself. He's... Huang Shishi held Ye Kong's arm tightly and slowly backed away. Is it schizophrenia? Regardless of him, there is something weird. Let's go. Ye Kong pulled Huang Shishi and tried to escape. But Emperor Kishin flashed forward and appeared in front of them, cold eyes like poisonous snakes. Make me like this, do you want to leave? Die. The tough De Kishin just wanted to take a shot, but the weak De Kishin took over the body. Let us go. I learned the Soul Eater, and another me with the opposite personality appears in my body, and he will kill you. Don't want to go. I will kill you. A great foundation and a great baby, haha, there is no fart in front of me. Come on. Can't get away. Obviously, the fierce De Kishin is stronger, and he has much more time to control his body. My kid with the last name Ye, I heard that you can also have Yingwu. Since it is unmount by Wa, let's use Yingwu to solve it. Ye Kong took out a long black knife and screamed, the blade pointed directly at the divine sky, and the sword-like weight of the mountain suddenly swung open, so that the fighting spirit soared. Then let me see if you Gai Yingwu is authentic. Rhythm cut. Bang bang. In a series of powerful cries, De Kishin laughed, rhythm? Did you realize this shallowest thing? How dare you even go to Peepa Mountain? Let you see the real Yingwu. To the reader. Confession wall, Grandpa Peng will say to Fang Niu, girl, Grandpa will hurt you for your life, I will try to get that thing done, Grandpa will love you until the day I disappear. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 811. August 11th. Despair. After De Kishin finished speaking, his hands were full of sleeves, and the whole person rose up in a volley. The wide robes and large sleeves flew in the sky full of cherry blossoms. Gem's sword, shining. Hua Ying split. I saw a phantom of De Kishin shot out of his body. The phantom came like electricity, leaving a long string of shadows in the eyes of people. Ye Kong saw the phantom of De Kishin in the blink of an eye. Has come to the front, holding up the golden sword in his hand. Boom, Ye Kong took the sword with all his strength, and the jade ground was shattered all around. The huge impact force depressed the entire ground. Emperor Kishin's virtual shadow is too powerful, Ye Kong can take the next sword, his whole body has been shocked, the aura in the meridian has been reversed, and the second shadow of that virtual shadow has been mercilessly cut. Hurt my husband, Huang Shishi sang, spit out a flying sword, and greeted the ghost. The emperor in the sky laughed loudly, this is just a ghost image of me, and it will make it a bit more difficult for you. Hua Ying split to cut? Another phantom of Emperor Qixin appeared. Although it is the same ghost image, but the sword light and shadow are all real, and the two ghost images are just like two completely different people, cooperate with each other, and the sword moves are completely different. Yekong, run away, Huang Shishi threw out the Qilong Linglong tower again, calming the second ghost image, but the ghost image suddenly increased several times. The sword light pulled out a bright arc. Oh! Jianguang slashed down, and Kakiao Linglong Pagoda was split into two, and the upper half slid obliquely. Huang Shishi was furious, dare to destroy my treasure. Qixin, who stood in the sky, laughed, his sleeves rolled up countless flying darts, his eyes were cold in his slender eyes. You die first. Woman. He raised his hand, and Jin Jian pointed at Huang Shishi distantly. One sword is divided. This is a superb blow of the sword technique in shadow martial arts. It is not only powerful, but also inevitable. I saw Huang Shishi's body immediately surrounded by a layer of translucent light and shadow, and that light and shadow was like an oval egg, trapping Huang Shishi in it. At the same time, a golden sword flickered in Qixin's hands, and a straight golden light, like a curtain, was cut against the light egg. Poetry, Yekong roared, dodging a sword cut by the virtual shadow and flying towards Jingguang. Yekong has already fought, two magic weapons are all out, the spell is thrown wildly, and the night dance is clenched in his hands, ready to connect the sword light. Can you catch it? To be honest, I can't catch it. Qixin's cultivation is already equivalent to the transformation of the gods. Is this a sword that Yekong can take? Can't handle it too. Trapped Huang Shishi angrily shouted, you are not his opponent, run away. No. To die together, to live together. Yekong can run away, but he cannot leave Huang Shishi and run away alone. It seems that both of them will die here. Huang Shishi closed her eyes in despair. However, she did not hear the loud noise. I regain control of the body, you go away at a critical moment. Qixin's body was changed back to his master. He recovered the ghost, regained the sword light, and Yekong and Huang Shishi escaped danger again. Let's go, Huang Shishi pulled Yekong to flee. But Qixin said, you can't escape, the exit channel has been closed, and it doesn't matter where you move. Yekong said, let's enter the pipa beads. Qixin smiled bitterly, it's useless, you can't get in. The main material for refining pipa beads is also the same jade as me. He uses my body to control the jade pipa, allowing the power of the jade pipa to affect the pipa bead and make it beyond your control. Yekong was frightened and was busy sensing the pipa beads. Bai Pazu was just like falling asleep, without any reaction at all. Originally, Yekong relied on the pipa beads and hid everything in the beads. At that time, so many magical people's inheritance methods had not opened the pipa beads, so it was very safe, but I didn't expect to be able to enter now. What to do? Huang Shishi asked in alarm. Qixin said, there is a secret room in my dormitory. No one can enter. Believe me and follow me. Yekong and Huang Shishi looked at each other. Do not believe him at this moment. Is there any other way? The people in the palace were driven away by Qixin. The three ran in the splendid palace of Jinbi. Qixin said as he ran, there is a bronze mirror in the closet. You must not believe him. He bewildered, giving his soul to him, and practicing the exercises he gave, so that another person appeared in my body, and that person became stronger and stronger. I think, sooner or later, I will occupy my Yuan Shen. The three ran, feeling wrong, because this palace passage is so long. Why can't you see the end as you go? No. The battle was played here. Qixin panicked, he said, it must be him. That's him. I locked him in an absolutely shielded closet, how could he come out? Huang Shishi asked who? Mirror. Huang Shishi didn't understand, what mirror? Just. Ecchi was too late to explain, but exclaimed loudly, "No! That guy is already eating my soul. What should I do?" Yekong knew that that guy was another soul in Dikishin's body, but he was helpless. Dikishin's other soul was too powerful, and it would be a matter of time to devour his original soul. Dikishin is getting more and more anxious. Although he is also very powerful, he can mobilize this body with the power above the transformation of the gods. Finally, Dikishin gave up, and in the end, he shouted, "Kill me now! Kill me while I can control my body! Hurry!" Dikishin stood still, waiting for Yekong to kill. But when he gave up, it was already the last moment. He didn't finish talking, and his body was already dominated by another emperor. "Stupid, let others help, kill yourself? Pigs understand better than you." Dikishin smiled coldly, looked at Yekong and Huang Shishi, and laughed, too. "We met again, the stupid said no nothing bad about me, huh, but he can't say much anymore, I've been annoying him for a long time." Yekong was not nervous at the moment. He smiled slightly and said, "You are nothing but the incarnation of his body. After all, he is your master. Without him, you can't be rebelled against." Dikishin laughed, "Wrong, his soul is born in jade, and jade is his body. But my soul is born in this body, so this body is supposed to be mine." Yekong said again, "These have nothing to do with me. So let's be your patriarch. I will go back to be my monk. Everyone will return home from the bridge to the road. What if you never met?" The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 812. August 12th. Biggest secret. Dikishin smiled arrogantly, "The beauty you want. Since you are here in Pipa, the ending is already doomed, that is a dead end." Yekong said again, "Why is there a dead end? Why not 2 or 3? Dikishin froze for a while, but then came to understand and roared, "You are delaying time." Yekong laughed and threw out a piece of dried and pale fairy jade. "The answer is correct, but there is no reward." Yekong finished speaking, grabbing the right hand on the back of his left hand, and a flamboyant green longbow appeared in his hand. "Fairy," Huang Shishi's eyes widened. She had discovered the green tattoo on the back of Yekong Shao and thought it was a simple decorative tattoo. "I did not expect that there was a hidden fairy." Yekong nodded and said something, and immediately made Huang Shishi and Dikishin vomit blood. "Well, it's not very good, it's just the 9-pin fairy." Huang Shishi fainted, "My god, Jupingxian. Although I have never been to the fairyland, some legends have heard it. The 9-pin fairy ware is a rare treasure in the fairyland. Yedaiu, in fact, I just joked with you just now. Everyone has something to talk about. Don't hurt your peace. In fact, I also want to thank you. I wouldn't have succeeded so easily unless you made him feel violent." Dikishin was not stupid. Standing in front of Jupingxian Bao, his legs and stomach were shaking. "Thank me? The way you thank people is really special." Yekong smiled and said, "Well, tell you the name of this 9-pin fairy Bao. It's called Broken Fairy Road. Once this Bao comes out, fairy, the road is broken. Now I declare that your fairy road has come to an end." After Yekong finished speaking, his fingers were loose, and an arrow formed by the 7-colored fairy immortal shot out, like a thin rainbow, penetrating directly through Dikishin's body. Pop! Dikishin's body was instantly shattered, and the cultivation above God was turned into a blow in front of Jupin Xianxia. Huang Shishi finally smiled. Her mission was completed. Her efforts were not in vain. She saved him and herself, but she also had to go. "Your secrets are really a lot." Huang Shishi smiled very charmingly. "This is the biggest secret." Yekong closed Duanxian Road into the back of his hand. "But I think..." Huang Shishi posted it, exhaling like blue, full of peaks and mountains clinging to Yekong, and her little hand prone to go down, smiled, This is your biggest secret. Yekong was comfortable speaking, but he pushed Huang Shishi's hand away. Wife, although I really want to, but I don't think this is a good place. Well, how do you know that I need Xianyu? What about? The answer to him was Huang Shishi's wet kiss. Want to know? 50 years later, goodbye Shadow City. After speaking, Huang Shishi's charming smile slowly faded, and finally turned into a streamer, flying without a trace. Yekong was stunned, not knowing what happened, or why Huang Shishi disappeared suddenly, and seeing him in Shadow Snow City again 50 years later, it was too far away. Don't she find it inconvenient for her to become ordinary with me? Did you go to experience mortal life alone? Yekong guessed, but thought it was impossible, and not to mention anything else, Huang Shishi's way of leaving was very strange. At least Yekong's yang to get out of this circular formation, it's quite laborious. Before Yekong had time to think about Huang Shishi, he found another abnormality. It turned out that after Dikishin was killed by Broken Ferry Road, his body and his other soul were dissipated, but the original Dikishin soul gathered. The dazzling green smoke slowly gathered into the image of Dikishin. He smiled at Yekong and said, thank you for killing him. Yekong asked, will you enter the reincarnation now? Dikishin shook his head and said, no, I am a demon repairer, and a jade demon repairer. Jade is originally an inanimate object, so I will soon lose my soul and will not enter the cycle. Yekong shook his head and sighed. That's it? Dikishin laughed, it doesn't matter, the jade on the jade pipa is my body. As long as the body is still there, one day, it will be cultivated. Congratulations on your success. Even so, but both people know how difficult it is to cultivate and shape inanimate objects, and even if they are cultivated again, it is not Emperor Kishin, but another person. In fact, Dikishin didn't want the spirit to fly away. He saw Yekong's night dance at a glance, and asked, is that a magical weapon? There seems to be no instrumental spirit. Instead of having a spirited spirit, it's better to take me in and make it a spirit. Dikishin is a demon cultivation, different realms and monks are different, but his cultivation has now passed the period of deification, so if he wants to become an instrument of night dance, the power of night dance will burst out completely. Empty is a great good thing. But Yekong frowned and said, you have to think about it. Becoming an instrumental spirit will be refined, and eventually become an ownerless soul, which is no better than your soul flying away. Qi Ling and Huang Quan's ancestor stayed in the small sword weapon at that time. That's different. Huang Quan's ancestor stayed in the small sword weapon only temporarily hiding, and become an instrument spirit. It will refine and become the soul of the ownerless, no love and hate, no thought, only instinct. Dikishin laughed, becoming an instrumental spirit and soul flying soul, how can it be the same? Spiritual soul flying soul has no little value, but as your spirit, you can promise me one thing. Is it going to save Lichanayu? Kangbei Demon District, I will go sooner or later, but I don't know if she can wait for me, Yekong said again. Dikishin nodded, just do your best. If that time, you really rescued her, by the time I can keep the knife with her, I'm satisfied, even if I compensate her for 800 years come hurt. I can promise you, Yekong nodded. Dikishin's last wish is over, and it is now attached to the night dance. His body turned into blue smoke and flew over, tangling on the black blade, as if the blade was surrounded by smoke. Immediately before refining, Dikishin suddenly said, many years ago, there was a piece of jade lying in the soil until one day it was dug out by a monk and refined into a jade pipa. Later, the monks go to fight, it is for the monks to play music, it is for the monks to protect the people in the state. Finally one day, it has its own consciousness, it is determined to no longer accept the arrangements of fate, no longer live for others, it works cultivation, it just wants to dominate its own destiny. Yekong, am I wrong? Are you wrong? Yekong murmured to himself, but soon, Yekong had an answer. He said to the dazzling green smoke, "You are not wrong, you have defeated your fate, but, you should not betray your soul to the devil." Dikishin nodded, his face turned into smoke. "Please help me take care of Lichinayu, thank you."